This is Dormouse03, continuing my Max Payne 3 old school walkthrough, and this is part 2 of chapter 12. And so, in this section, oh dear Lord, so they take your weapons off you, and all you're left with is this pistol and that shotgun that's right there. And the shotgun, I like to conserve for some situations in a second. And so I pick it up, but I don't use it. Make sure you pick up the painkillers that are right there. And I come over here to this spot and try to take out these guys. So you don't want to use the shotgun on them because they're too far away for it to be effective. And the best strategy that I could do was to try to kill those guys at the beginning without using bullet time as much as possible, so that I could save my bullet time for these guys, because they will hit you ridiculously accurately from that far away. So there were a couple of painkillers on that little table, which I'm gonna need because this section right here sucks. So I use the shotgun right now on these guys because there's two of them that'll run out right there when you push up far enough, and you want to make sure that they get put down because there isn't a lot of good cover right in this area. In fact, there is no cover in this area unless you ran up and got up against the edge of that pool, which may not work out so well. And so now I know that there's going to be 3 guys that run out of this door. So I'm going to try to get as many shots on them as I can. But they come out really quickly, and without using bullet time, it's hard to hit them all. So I think I managed to get 2 out of the 3 of them right there. And then I got clipped by the other guy running across. And so now this area right here, it just sucked. Because there were people at various distances. Sometimes they'll rush you like that guy right there. And there's not good cover in this area right here, so you don't want to be fighting people over in this spot who run at you like that dude did. You want to be shooting at the people through the fence and not around on your side of it. So what you want to do is probably pick up an assault rifle instead of trying to use this shotgun, because it just doesn't have the best range. So it can work, it does work. I do it with the shotgun, but it's probably not your best solution to the problem there. So in any case, I'm going to talk a little bit about something else, because I don't know, this fight takes a long time for me, and it's not a lot of stuff that I need to be telling you about every single second of what happens, because mostly it's just me being super cautious because I didn't want to die. So I am going to talk about something that this section kind of reminded me of in a strange way, and that is Alan Wake. And for those of you who don't know, Remedy was the developer that made the first 2 Max Payne games, and they did not make this one. This one was made by Rockstar. And the last big title that Remedy developed and came out with was the game Alan Wake, which is a game that I really like. It's just it's got a nice story. The gameplay is pretty slick, and it's different. It's just so different from anything else that I've played that's out there right now. So if you haven't played Alan Wake, you should check it out. And they had a new release on the arcade here recently, just maybe a month or 2 ago, and I have not picked that up yet. And it's something that I want to play, and I probably eventually will, but I don't know. It just didn't look like a lot of gameplay for me, because from the reviews that I read of it, it seemed like the story wasn't too long, and then it focused mainly on a horde mode type thing, which while I think those kinds of things are fun, I didn't necessarily have $15 to spend on that right now, but I probably will pick it up at some point. And if you have an opinion about that game, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of it. Is it worth $15? Should I wait for a price drop? Which is what I was intending to do. So, oh, and another problem that I had with it that made me want to wait on it is that the horde mode isn't co-op. It's just for one person, which I think that it's nice that they give you the ability to do it with just one person, and it's not like you're gonna be completely screwed if there's only one of you. Having some sort of scaling difficulty would be nice, but it'd be nice to be able to play co-op with somebody. When you're gonna have horde mode, why on earth would you want to do that alone all the time? I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. But in any case, I've gone on and on about Alan Wake, and I haven't really tied it into why I'm talking about that right now. So other than Remedy was the developer, and that's not why why it came to mind. What made me think of it was there were a couple of spots in this section where I would be moving forward, and Max would move a little bit farther than I had intended him to, and that reminded me a little bit of Alan Wake, although it was much worse on Alan Wake. He slid around like he was on roller skates sometimes, and the bad thing about that was not necessarily within the combat situations, because the combat was fairly manageable, even on the hardest difficulty of that game. It wasn't to your detriment too much in combat wise, but in some of the traversal areas, there were some weird like platforming sections, especially I'm thinking in one of the DLCs, which I can't recall the name of it right now, whether it was the Signal or the Rider. In one of them, you had to do a bunch of platforming, and if you fell, you could die. And one of the achievements for that was to go all the way through it without dying or failing any checkpoints. And it was pretty short, and the combat wasn't too challenging. But God knows those platforming sections, because he slid around so far that you would be trying to jump from one spot to the other, and a lot of times you would overshoot it, and he would just run off the other side, because it took him, he was so animation heavy that it took him so long to sort of land, and for you to be able to pull him back from the edge and to stop him from continuing to move forward, that it got you killed. So there were moments in this where it reminded me a little bit of Alan Wake, just because of his movement, where you're trying to sort of creep around out of cover or upstairs or something, and he just doesn't move exactly the way that you want him to, and he might expose himself to bullets a little bit when that's not what you really wanted him to do. So it reminded me of Alan Wake, and it was a nice opportunity to talk about that, because as I said, I took a long time in that section because I didn't want to die there, and I was using that shotgun, which was probably not the best tool for the job. So if you're doing this section, I would recommend that you use it for the few guys that are going to be up close, and then pick up something else to finish out the section, because I don't know, it just took me super long. And I think this is the last piano in the game, and I left it in here because I didn't find it my first time through, and he will actually be able to complete his little theme on it, and that's kind of cool. So that's where it is if you haven't found it. And that is the end of this video. It was all that one fight with me playing super like a little frightened child because I didn't want to die, but we will close this out in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in part 3.